Have you heard about Anchor? Well, it's one of the easiest ways to create a podcast. Not only is it 100% free, but it has a variety of creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or a computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast to other sites such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many others for you. And Anchor even allows you to make money from your podcast without a required minimum listenership. So whether you've been in the podcasting game for a long time or you're completely new to it, Anchor is so user-friendly that it's basically your one-stop shop for making a podcast. So what are you waiting for? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
You're listening to First Paso. Because sometimes you simply need someone to help you take that first paso.
Hello and welcome to First Paso, a show where we learn together how to take that first paso toward becoming the best versions of ourselves. My name is Candace Olushala, and I am in Ecuador. I told you guys that I'm going to be in Ecuador for the next few weeks, and so I'm recording all these episodes early on in my trip to make sure that you guys get what you need just in case my Wi-Fi don't work. So just in case you didn't know, I don't think I explained it last time, but I'm on a medical brigade in Ecuador, and it's going to be in Santo Domingo. Santo Domingo de las Sachilas is the area where I actually was a missionary during my college years. So University of Kentucky actually has a clinic there called Hombro a Hombro, which means shoulder to shoulder. And it's 20 minutes from where I used to teach, which is wild. So I've gone back about 4 times. I think this is my 4th time on the brigade, 2nd time as a pharmacist, and I just love it here. It's pretty much my second home. So anyway, I kind of wanted to jump into the topic because last week we started a journey that was pretty heavy, and it's a process that I think a lot of us could benefit from. It's a journey that I went on myself, and I'm ready to unpack that with you guys. So last week, our key to unlocking our greatness, the key to being extraordinary and uncommon, that first key was acknowledgement, right? And I told you guys that if you have a list of things that you need to acknowledge that overwhelm you, that are insecurities, are fears, whatever those things are, write that out, make a list. You might be adding to that list over time, even as you get older, because there's always something that pops into our mind that often is triggered by situations, conversations, just at random. And so being able to go back and see what those things were that we wrote down before and then connecting them to things that are popping in our heads now, it'll help us piece together things about ourselves that maybe we wouldn't have prior. So the second key to unlocking the greatness that is already inside of you is desire. Now, the reason why I say desire is because you have to really want for the change to happen. And sometimes in our heads, we have this idea of what that change should look like. Part of that might be wanting to hold on to our resentment. Like, okay, if I can live my life, awesome. I should be allowed to hold on to my resentment because I deserve to, or they don't deserve this from me, or whatever the case may be. And that's not really what I mean by desire. I think the desire for the healing that happens after acknowledging the areas that need to be healed, it's the desire to want the healing no matter what it looks like, even if it might hurt. I'm not speaking physically, but it might hurt your pride. It might hurt your internal dialogue that you give yourself, that you say to yourself. It might hurt a lot of areas And just being willing to let go of what's coming is a desire that you would need to lean into to have this experience be worthwhile. So just so you kind of know from my perspective on this journey, I remember getting to a headspace where I decided that I could not allow myself to live life the way I had been anymore. I just couldn't do it. It wasn't worth it. It was more painful than healing. And I was so tired of it. And I had reached a level of hope, this hope that I could be loved, a hope that I might have high value, a hope that I could be of necessary importance to the world. I reached this level of hope and was honestly not sure if the hope I had could be true. Like those list of things, if I could be loved in those things like that. I wasn't even sure if that was possible for me, but I believed that it was an option, or at least I chose to believe that it could be an option. And the only way I could really find out if my insecurity that I could never be good. I could never be great. I could never be loved. I could never be cherished. I basically put myself into an experiment to say, well, that's just me making an assumption based on my experiences in my life. But what if that's not true and I just haven't gone through the journey to find out if there's another option because things have been so deeply scarring. So I believed that an option was out there, but I just had to go all into it and desire it enough to, how do I put it? I had to desire the hope enough. I had to desire that the hope could potentially be true enough to go on this journey. So that hope was basically like a ticket out of a mindset that didn't support anything but the lies that I was of no significance in the world. I was just tired of allowing my brain to default to negativity towards myself and my capabilities. I just couldn't. I was so done. I was so fed up. And I felt and believed myself to be completely discounted, completely worthless, completely unloved. And in that moment, I basically chose my rock bottom. I know that sounds weird. You've probably never heard that. I just wanted you to sit in that space of hearing that and say, did she just say choose your rock bottom? That's exactly what I said. And I said it and I meant it. I literally chose my rock bottom. Did you know you could do that? Did you know that you actually have the power to completely, autonomously have that authority to choose how far down you allow yourself to go? Because rock bottom, honestly, if I'm being completely truthful with you, rock bottom is so much more of a state of mind than it is a state of physical existence. I'm going to say that again. Rock bottom is more of a state of mind than it is a state of physical existence. This is something that we're not taught. We're often taught that your rock bottom is something that you just hit. It just, surprises you. Oh, Lord, how'd I get down here? No, that's a lie. That's a lie that we've been fed for way too long. And I'm going to stop it right here because rock bottom is a mental choice. It truly, truly is. There is not a soul on this earth that can take the authority away from you to choose your rock bottom, except for you. So it's so important to not allow anyone else press the buttons on your life's elevator. They shouldn't have to dictate whether you're going up or going down, or whether you're going to the first floor, to the 17th floor, to the ground floor, to the basement. When I say that, I mean from a mindset perspective. There are people that can abuse you and it feels like you're on the ground floor, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, like all those spaces, especially in the physical realm, which can trigger how you feel emotionally and mentally. But you still get to choose. You still get to choose. And your choice affects the outcome of how you go through situations. I'm not saying that to be insensitive, because I too am one who has suffered abuse from childhood. And I thought that I had to cater to the emotions and feelings that, and the thoughts that I had to cater to them because that's what naturally came with the effects of those physical abuse situations. However, when I went through this process, it dawned on me that I don't have to go based off of what my thoughts and emotions default to. I can actually go, you know what? I'm feeling this. I'm even thinking this, but I'm going to choose to lean into something totally different from this and not allow my thoughts or emotions to have that much power over me in this moment. And I'm going to fight against it. And I'll talk about that later on in some episodes between the rock bottom and how to navigate your emotions and thoughts when they want to default to something that makes sense to you given the situation, and how you can stand up against those things. So we'll talk about that at another time. But just as a small snippet to that, you don't have to allow other people or even your emotions or thoughts to dictate whether you go up or down in life from a mental and emotional, even spiritual space. So which floor will you allow to be your ground floor? And say, this is as far down as my elevator is going to go. Period, point blank. I'm just choosing that. Even if my thoughts and emotions and the people around me, the circumstances around me, the environment that I'm in tell me that's not allowed, I'm going to choose for it to be allowed. I'm going to choose for this to be the lowest level. What will you do to fight to see the penthouse of your life? What are you going to do to reach the top floor? It honestly starts with that mindset. Do you have the desire to want to get there? Are you willing to fight with everything that you got for that next level, for that breakthrough, for that healing, for that complete transformation, for 100% sustainable life lasting joy? Because joy is something that comes from within. Happiness comes from outside of you. Your environment dictates your happiness, but joy is a choice. Joy is a choice, and it comes with the healing process. And healing is a choice. And that healing process is in your power. It truly is. I'm a living testament of that. And I believe that you can do it. And so if you're back on step 1, just acknowledging, I'm still very proud of you. If you're in that space where you're like, you know what, I actually desire better for myself, and I'm ready to do whatever it takes to meet the most healed, whole, joyful, content, loved version of myself. If you're ready to use key number 2, I'm so proud of you. Why don't you take the time this week to think about those things that you feel about yourself or you perceive about yourself? Write those words down. Mine were discounted, worthless, and unloved. Your list might be longer or shorter than mine. They might be even different words. But whatever that list is, write that down and say, am I ready to change the narrative? Am I ready to say that I will no longer allow myself to be mentally and emotionally brought down further than this point, these words? And what am I going to do to get to the penthouse of my life? How badly do I want it? Look, I'm being honest. Like, I didn't let anything or anyone get in my way of this journey. I didn't care what other people thought about it. I didn't even really share it with people. I was just doing it on my own in my private space, and I was very prayerful through it for myself and wanted God to be on that journey with me, being someone who is a Christian, and God is a really important part of that process for me, any process really. But I was willing to do anything. I was reading books, I was watching sermons, I was on YouTube watching other videos. I was doing so many things to fight for what I wanted. And it took me 10 years doing that by myself. But let me tell you, every decision that I made was worth it. It was completely and totally worth it because I get to marvel in the peace and wholeness that I walk in every day. I get to taste the fruits of that fight for myself and leaning into the desire so much and reminding myself in those moments where I thought, this is crazy. Why am I doing this? This is not worth it. I'm not going to be healed. I'm not going to be whole. This is all a crapshoot. And saying, but I'm not done yet. There's so much more of me that needs to be discovered and figured out that I'm going to keep going until I can see that this is it. This is worth it. This is taking me to the penthouse. So I encourage you, go on that journey. And if you need help going on that journey, hit me up. I would love to be your life coach. I'm going through that journey with some others, and I know I shared some of that last week, but it reminds me of why my journey was so worth it. Getting to see other people listen to what I share with them. They try it out, and it actually works. It humbles me to know that the lessons that I've learned on my own journey weren't just for me, but they're for others. So I hope that you want more for yourself enough to desire that consistent choice. Yeah. That consistent choice to keep choosing you. Not you who you are right now, but the you that you hope and pray that you are on the other side. I already know that you are those things, those beautiful things that you want to be. But it doesn't matter if you don't see it and receive it for yourself. But are you willing to find out? Are you really, really ready? If you're really ready, then it's already yours. It's already yours. That's it for today's episode. If you have any topics, questions, situations you want addressed here for your first Basso experiences, hit me up on social media at Candace Olushala or go to my website, www.firstbasso.com. Send me a message, hit me up in the DMs, comment on my post. I'd love to hear from you guys. And tell me, are you in this space yet? How does key number 1 go? And how does key number 2 sound to you? Are you scared? Are you nervous? Are you ready? Let me know. I want to hear from you. And thank you guys so much for your love, support, and for teaching me as well. I love you guys. Take care. Stay safe. God bless you. And we'll talk soon. Bye.